Now the next topic is mechanism of absorption of the elements. How these elements they are absorbed and they are translocated in the plants. Soil is the main source of the mineral salts. These mineral salts are mainly absorbed by the subterminal meristematic region of the soil and the roots. There are two methods for this absorption of the mineral salts. First is passive, another is active. So here is a question that says passive absorption of the minerals, it depends on what are the factors? Temperature and metabolic inhibitor or the humidity. So it is only and only the temperature which is regulating the passive absorption of the minerals. So option A, temperature, is correct. So here you can see they are talking about the passive absorption of the minerals, that is without any expenditure of the ATP. Passive absorption, or any term which is passive, it means no energy is required over there. So by simple diffusion, according to this method, mineral ions may diffuse into the root cells from the soil solution. Simply they can diffuse. By mass flow. Now what is this mass flow? According to this method, mineral ion absorption occurs with the flow of water under the influence of transpiration. By ionic exchange, this involves exchange of the mineral ions with the ions of the same charge. By contact exchange, when the mineral ions exchange with the hydrogen and the OH ions. So in this exchange, the mineral ions also get exchanged. Carbonic acid exchange, when the mineral ions are exchanged with the ions of the carbonic acid. So here is a diagrammatic representation of the theories which were responsible or which told us about the passive absorption. So first is the contact exchange theory, like when the two ions they come in contact, there is an exchange of the ions within them. Carbonic acid exchange theory, that is an exchange of ion with the help of this carbonic acid. Now there was a scientist who gave us an equilibrium. So let's look by Donon equilibrium. This theory explains the passive accumulation of the ions against the concentration gradient or the electrochemical potential without the ATP. So here there is a transfer without any ATP exchange or without any ATP use, but it is against the concentration gradient. At the inner side of the cell membrane, which separates from outside, that is from the external media, there are some anions which are fixed and non-diffusible. So they cannot be moved, and the membrane is impermeable to these ions, while the cations are diffusible. So the anions are fixed at certain positions, they cannot be diffused, but when we talk about the cations, they can be easily diffused. After that, the next theory was active ion absorption, that is by the expenditure of ATP. So since passive was where no energy is required, active is where energy is required, ATP is required. So evidence in favor of active mineral absorptions, what are those? Rate of respiration of plants is increased when the plant transferred into mineral nutrition, that is salt respiration. Factors like deficiency of oxygen, CO and CN, which inhibit the rate of respiration, also inhibit the absorption of mineral ions in the plants. Absorption of potassium ions in Nutella algae is observed against the concentration gradient. So what can be the theories? The first theory was cytochrome pump theory. It was given by Lundinger Barstrom in 1933. According to this theory, only ions are absorbed by active mechanism through the cytochrome and pumping, and the absorption of cation is a passive process. So they say only the ions they are absorbed by the active process, while the cation are done by the passive process only. Next was the carrier concept. It was by Van den Honert. According to this theory, some specific carrier molecules made up of proteins are present in the cell membrane of the root cell, which absorb both the ions and form ion carrier complex. This complex breaks inside the cell membrane with the expenditure of energy. So here they are telling that there are certain molecules, certain protein molecules which act as the carrier, and with the help of these carrier, the ions attached to them, they form an ion carrier complex, and then they are transferred through the cell membrane. So the ion carrier hypothesis, you can see the diagram that the carrier is coming, the ion is getting attached to it, they make up a complex, and then they are moving. So when they are moving, then here is a breakdown of ATP, the ATP is used and then the carrier is